Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to understanding whether a narcissist truly loves their children, the answer isn't found in their words, but in their actions. Love is an active force, something that must be consistently demonstrated through care, sacrifice, and the prioritization of another person's well-being. Narcissists are often skilled at using words to paint themselves as loving parents and living the situation that defined their bond with their children. When they come back later to defend later actions, whatever they may have been, they may boast about their devotion, speak grandly about their children's potential, or share superficial affirmations of love. However, love that exists only in words is hollow, and actions, or the lack thereof, reveal the truth. A parent who genuinely loves their child will put the child's needs above their own, often sacrificing personal desires to ensure their child's happiness and security. For narcissists, this kind of selflessness is rare, if it exists at all. Their primary focus is their own image, status, and comfort. This means their decisions, even those involving their children, are often made with their own interests at the forefront. While they might buy expensive gifts or provide financial support, these gestures are rarely about the child's needs or feelings. Instead, they are strategic moves, designed to enhance the narcissist's image as a generous and loving parent in the eyes of others. The extra effort needed to celebrate, to prize, to remind. For a narcissist, parenting is less about nurturing and more about control. They see their children as extensions of themselves, rather than as individuals with their own identities, emotions, and dreams. This perspective undermines the fundamental nature of a loving parent-child relationship. A child who is genuinely loved is given space to grow, to make mistakes, and to explore the world on their terms, knowing that their parent is there to support and guide them. In contrast, a narcissist's love is suffocating because it is centered on fulfilling their own needs rather than meeting the emotional and developmental needs of the child. Another critical aspect of loving a child is providing consistent emotional support. A child needs to feel seen, heard, and valued for who they are. Narcissists, however, often struggle to offer this because they are not truly interested in their child's inner world unless it serves their purpose. For instance, if a child achieves something notable, the narcissist might shower them with praise, not to celebrate the child's success, but to use it as a reflection of their own greatness. Conversely, if the child's behavior threatens the narcissist's sense of superiority or control, they might respond with criticism, withdrawal, or even outright hostility. This erratic and self-serving behavior creates a toxic environment where the child learns that love is unpredictable and conditional. The absence of selflessness in a narcissist's actions becomes particularly evident in moments of conflict or hardship. A loving parent rises to the occasion, putting their child's needs first and finding ways to protect and nurture them. A narcissist, on the other hand, is more likely to view such situations as burdensome or inconvenient. They might dismiss their child's feelings, blame the child for the problem, or shift the focus back to themselves, portraying themselves as the victim of the situation. In doing so, they fail to provide the stability and reassurance that a child desperately needs in times of difficulty. A parent's actions also reveal their priorities. A loving parent makes time for their child, listens to them without judgment, and is willing to adapt their own behavior to meet the child's needs. Narcissists, however, are often preoccupied with their own lives, whether it's their career, social status, or personal relationships. Their interactions with their children are frequently transactional or performative, designed to project an image of competence and care to the outside world while neglecting the deeper emotional work required in parenting. Consider the way a narcissist handles milestones in a child's life. A loving parent celebrates these moments as significant milestones in their child's journey. A narcissist, however, is likely to hijack these occasions, turning them into opportunities to showcase their own involvement or success. For example, a child's academic achievement might be framed not as a testament to the child's hard work, but as evidence of the parent's superior guidance. As well as testament to the child's hard work, but as evidence of the parent's superior guidance. This self-centered approach robs the child of the joy and recognition they deserve, leaving them feeling unseen and undervalued. Actions are the foundation of love, particularly in a parent-child relationship. Love is patient, love is kind, and love is sacrificial. It is not self-seeking or manipulative. A narcissist's actions, however, often stand in stark contrast to these principles. Their inability to consistently prioritize their child's needs over their own, coupled with their tendency to use their children as tools for self-aggrandizement, reveals the absence of true love. Children raised by narcissists often carry the weight of this realization, recognizing over time that the love they received was conditional and superficial. True love for a child is an unshakable commitment that endures beyond convenience or personal gain. It requires actions that build trust, foster security, and affirm the child's worth as an individual. When such actions are absent, words lose their power. A narcissist's love is at best a performance, a convincing act for those who aren't paying close attention. At its core, it is a painful reminder that true love cannot exist where selfishness reigns. Love in its truest form is unconditional. It is a profound and unwavering commitment that exists without demands or expectations. For a child, this kind of love is essential. It provides the foundation upon which they build their sense of self-worth and emotional security. A parent's love should be a sanctuary, a safe harbor, where a child knows they are valued for who they are, not for what they do. However, for a narcissist, love is transactional, conditional, and self-serving. This distorted version of love sends a harmful message to their children. Your worth is tied to what you can provide, achieve, or reflect back to me. When a narcissist loves their child, it is often inextricably tied to conditions. These conditions might not always be explicitly stated, but they are deeply felt by the child. A narcissist's affection might be showered upon the child when they achieve something that boosts the parent's ego, such as excelling academically, achieving athletic success, or demonstrating talents that reflect positively on the family. In these moments, the child feels valued, but only because they are serving the narcissist's need for validation. The love they receive is not about their intrinsic worth as a person, but about their utility as an extension of the parent's image. So when my parents one day lost control of the house, they made me the raging bilge for the suffering family. This conditional love creates a damaging dynamic in the parent-child relationship. A child who must earn love learns to tie their value to external achievements rather than internal qualities. They grow up striving for perfection, constantly seeking approval, and fearing failure because they have been taught that failure equates to a loss of love. This relentless pursuit of validation can lead to anxiety, low self-esteem, and a sense of never being good enough. The child becomes trapped in a cycle of trying to meet unattainable standards to secure a fleeting sense of acceptance. The conditional nature of a narcissist's love also breeds insecurity and confusion. A child might feel loved one day and ignored or criticized the next, depending on whether they are meeting the narcissist's expectations. This inconsistency creates an unstable emotional environment where the child is constantly trying to predict and adapt to the parent's shifting moods and demands. The information, rather than feeling safe and supported, the child feels as though they are walking on eggshells, always unsure of where they stand. A narcissist's conditional love is further compounded by their inability to accept their children as separate individuals. They see their children as extensions of themselves, not as independent beings with their own dreams, feelings, and desires. This perspective leads to a lack of respect for the child's autonomy. A narcissistic parent might impose their own aspirations onto the child, pressuring them to pursue goals that align with the parent's desires, rather than the child's interests. This erasure of individuality reinforces the message that the child's worth is contingent upon how well they conform to the parent's expectations. The absence of unconditional love becomes even more apparent during moments when the child fails to meet the narcissist's standards. In these instances, the narcissist's reaction often shifts from praise to criticism, withdrawal, or punishment. Instead of offering support, empathy, and guidance, the narcissist might express disappointment, anger, or even shame. This response teaches the child that love is not a constant, but something that can be revoked at any moment. The narcissist might still find something to compromise or bypass the child, whose level of development is not a constant, but something that can be revoked at any moment. It creates a deep fear of failure and rejection that can linger well into adulthood. True parental love is not contingent upon a child's performance, behavior, or accomplishments. It is rooted in acceptance, patience, and an enduring commitment to the child's well-being. A loving parent celebrates their child's achievements, not because they reflect well on the parent, but because they bring joy and fulfillment to the child. They offer comfort and reassurance in moments of failure, emphasizing that mistakes are a natural part of growth and do not diminish their love. This kind of love fosters resilience, self-confidence, and a strong sense of identity in the child. In stark contrast, a narcissist's love is self-serving and conditional. It revolves around what the child can do for the parent rather than what the parent can do for the child. The narcissist's inability to provide unconditional love is not only a reflection of their own emotional limitations, but also a profound betrayal of the child's trust. It leaves the child feeling unworthy, unseen, and emotionally neglected, despite any outward appearances of care or involvement. Over time, children raised by narcissists often come to recognize the conditional nature of the love they received. They may struggle to form healthy relationships, as they have internalized the belief that love must be earned rather than freely given. They might find themselves drawn to toxic dynamics where they feel they must constantly prove their worth, or fear that love will be taken away if they make a mistake. These challenges highlight the long-lasting impact of growing up in an environment where love is conditional. Unconditional love is the cornerstone of a healthy parent-child relationship. It nurtures a child's sense of self, provides emotional security, and lays the groundwork for a fulfilling life. A narcissist's inability to offer this kind of love is one of the clearest indicators that their love for their children is fundamentally flawed. By placing conditions on their affection, they fail to meet the most basic requirement of parenthood: to love their child for who they are, not for what they do. In this failure lies the proof that a narcissist's love is not love at all. It is a transaction, a performance, and a reflection of their own unmet needs, rather than a genuine connection to their child. One of the most defining aspects of a healthy parent-child relationship is the ability of the parent to put their child's needs first, stepping aside and allowing the child to thrive in their own right. This is true love, selflessly prioritizing the child's growth, happiness, and independence. In contrast, a narcissist cannot allow the spotlight to shift away from themselves, even for the sake of their own children. In the world of a narcissistic parent, the child's achievements, struggles, and milestones are simply a backdrop for the parent's desire to be the center of attention. A narcissist needs to be constantly validated, and they see their children as vehicles to reflect their own greatness. This desire for perpetual adoration creates a stifling, toxic environment where the child's individuality is overlooked in favor of the narcissist's self-centered narrative. A narcissist's need to remain the center of attention often results in their overshadowing the child's most significant moments. Birthdays, school achievements, graduations. These are all milestones in a child's life that should be celebrated and cherished for the child's sake. However, for a narcissist, these events serve as an opportunity to redirect the focus onto themselves. They might dominate a child's birthday party with their own tales of success, boast about their accomplishments, or even manipulate the situation to make it about their own sacrifice as a parent. In these moments, the child is pushed aside, their own achievements minimized, and their sense of worth becomes tied to the narcissist's approval. This behavior speaks to a deeper issue. The narcissist cannot bear to relinquish the spotlight, not even for their child. Where a loving parent encourages their child to shine, offering praise and acknowledging their strengths, a narcissist sees their child's success as a direct threat to their own need for admiration. For a narcissist, love is transactional. They provide attention, support, or praise only when it serves to elevate their own status. They provide direct rewards for their own status. This dynamic leaves the child feeling invisible or inadequate as their personal achievements become merely a tool for the narcissist's validation rather than a moment for genuine celebration. Even in the day-to-day interactions between a narcissistic parent and their child, the focus often remains on the parent's desires and needs rather than the child's. Conversations, for instance, are rarely about the child's thoughts, feelings, or experiences. Instead, the narcissist dominates the conversation, steering it back to their own interests, complaints, or personal triumphs. The narcissist may feign interest in the child's life, but it's always secondary to their own agenda. This kind of attention is self-serving. It's about reaffirming the narcissist's sense of importance and power rather than genuinely connecting with the child on an emotional level. A narcissist's inability to let their child take the spotlight extends to more significant decisions as well. While a loving parent will empower their child to make choices, explore their own interests, and even face the consequences of their actions, a narcissist is more likely to dictate the child's path. They may push the child into careers, hobbies, or social circles that reflect well on the parent's image, rather than allowing the child to pursue their own dreams. A narcissist's control over their child's life is an extension of their need to remain in the spotlight. If the child succeeds in a way that enhances the parent's status, it serves the narcissist's need for admiration. If the child fails or deviates from the narcissist's plan, the parent might withdraw their love or become punitive. This overwhelming focus on the narcissist's own needs stifles the child's development and sense of individuality. The child learns that their worth is not inherent but rather dependent on how they serve the narcissist's ego. Over time, this dynamic can erode the child's sense of self, as they are conditioned to believe that they are valuable only when they meet the narcissist's expectations. More importantly, they tend to believe that self-actualization suppresses their individuality and eventually blinds them to the purity and fullness of their own potential. The child's voice, desires, and personality become muted in the face of a parent who cannot tolerate being anything less than the center of attention. It's important to note that narcissistic parents are not always overtly cruel or neglectful. Often their actions are disguised by a facade of concern or superficial praise, which only makes the situation more insidious. The narcissist might boast about how much they've done for their child, but these gestures are rarely motivated by genuine love or care. Instead, they are part of the narcissist's need to appear as a perfect parent to outsiders. The narcissist's true emotional neglect, however, is evident in the way they constantly seek to control the child's identity and overshadow their achievements. The impact on the child can be profound. When a child grows up in an environment where their achievements are minimized or overshadowed by the narcissist's need for attention, they often struggle with feelings of inadequacy, frustration, and confusion. They may begin to question their own worth or doubt their abilities, as their sense of self becomes tied to the narcissist's approval rather than their own inherent qualities. This can have lasting effects on their mental health and relationships, as they may internalize the belief that their needs and desires are secondary to others. In a truly loving parent-child relationship, the parent becomes a guide, a supporter, and a cheerleader for the child. They help the child navigate the world, allowing them the space and encouragement to develop their own identity, make their own choices, and pursue their own dreams. A narcissist, on the other hand, sees their child as an accessory, something to enhance their own image and serve their own needs. The narcissist's inability to share the spotlight with their child, to give them space to flourish independently, is perhaps one of the clearest signs that they do not truly love their children in the way that a parent should. Love requires sacrifice, and a narcissist's refusal to step aside for the sake of their child's happiness demonstrates the depth of their self-centeredness. The greatest gift written culture has never confined itself to love, a loathing for children and the willingness to grant it to others. The greatest gift the world ever gave to parents. In a healthy parent-child relationship, emotional support is a cornerstone. A loving parent nurtures their child's emotional well-being, offering a safe space for expression, providing comfort in times of distress, and fostering a sense of security that allows the child to develop confidence and resilience. Emotional nurturing is not simply about meeting physical needs, but about connecting on a deeper level, understanding and validating the child's feelings, offering encouragement, and providing guidance through life's challenges. However, for a narcissistic parent, emotional nurturing is often replaced with emotional manipulation, which serves to control, dominate, and undermine the child's sense of self. Emotional manipulation. A narcissist does not engage with their child in an emotionally supportive way. Instead of offering empathy and understanding, they focus on controlling the child's emotions, thoughts, and behaviors to reinforce their own power and maintain control over the relationship. The child's emotions become a tool for the narcissist to manipulate, rather than an opportunity for emotional connection and growth. The narcissist may use guilt, shame, and fear to maintain authority, often turning the child's emotional vulnerabilities into a way to assert dominance. For example, when a child expresses sadness, frustration, or anger, a narcissist might invalidate those emotions rather than offering comfort. Instead of empathizing with the child's distress, the narcissist might dismiss their feelings as trivial or unreasonable. They may tell the child to get over it, or suggest that they are being too sensitive. This response not only ignores the child's need for emotional support, but also teaches them that their feelings are unimportant or inappropriate. Over time, the child may internalize the message that their emotions are invalid, and they may begin to suppress their feelings to avoid further criticism or rejection. Narcissists also use emotional manipulation to create a sense of dependency. They may engage in behaviors that keep the child emotionally off balance, making them feel as though their love and attention are unpredictable. One moment, the narcissist may shower the child with affection, praise, or attention, only to withdraw it the next. This intermittent reinforcement creates confusion and anxiety, as the child becomes desperate to regain the approval they once had. This manipulation fosters a cycle of seeking validation from the narcissist, reinforcing the narcissist's control over the child's emotional state. The child may constantly try to win back the love they feel they've lost, believing that their worth is tied to the narcissist's approval, even as it continues to be withheld or used to control them. Second, the narcissist is abusive to both children. Moreover, a narcissistic parent often uses guilt as a primary tool of manipulation. They may accuse the child of being selfish, ungrateful, or disobedient when the child expresses a desire for independence or shows signs of autonomy. The narcissist might say things like, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me?" Or, "You'll never amount to anything without my help." These statements are designed to make the child feel responsible for the narcissist's emotional well-being, fostering a sense of obligation and guilt that overrides the child's own needs and desires. The child is taught that their emotional needs must always be secondary to the narcissist's, leading them to feel guilty for even having feelings that are separate from the narcissist's expectations. In some cases, the narcissist may even use the child as an emotional sounding board for their own issues, turning the child into a surrogate partner or confidant. Instead of offering emotional support to the child, the narcissist might burden them with their own problems, making the child feel responsible for the parent's emotional state. This not only places an unfair burden on the child, but also reinforces the dynamic that the narcissist's feelings are more important than the child's. The child is conditioned to put the needs of the narcissist ahead of their own, learning to suppress their own emotional needs in favor of constantly appeasing the narcissist. One of the most damaging aspects of emotional manipulation by a narcissistic parent is their use of fear. A narcissist may create an atmosphere of constant anxiety, making the child afraid of making mistakes or failing to meet the narcissist's expectations. They might resort to threats, intimidation, or punishment as a way to maintain control, teaching the child that their value is determined by their ability to please the narcissist. The fear of rejection, criticism, or abandonment keeps the child trapped in a cycle of submission and compliance, undermining their ability to develop healthy coping mechanisms and emotional resilience. This constant emotional manipulation has long-lasting effects on the child. Instead of growing up with a sense of emotional security and self-worth, the child learns to doubt their own feelings and judgments. They may develop a deep sense of insecurity, constantly questioning whether their emotions are valid or whether they are worthy of love and acceptance. The child might struggle with trust issues, as they have learned that love is not a stable or reliable force, but something that can be used as a tool for manipulation. The impact of emotional manipulation is not limited to childhood. It can affect the child's relationships well into adulthood, making it difficult for them to form healthy, balanced connections with others. Anger, bitterness, and hatred can all be major forces of self-harm, so please be careful about them. Ultimately, emotional nurturing is about creating a safe, supportive environment where a child can express themselves freely, knowing that their feelings will be respected and valued. It is about providing reassurance, comfort, and guidance during difficult times, fostering a sense of security that allows the child to grow and learn without fear of emotional rejection or manipulation. A narcissist, however, cannot offer this type of nurturing, that their focus is on controlling the child's emotions to maintain their own sense of power, leaving the child emotionally starved and vulnerable. The emotional manipulation that a narcissist uses, in place of true emotional nurturing, reveals the absence of love in the relationship, and underscores the toxic and damaging nature of their parenting.